Okay, so I put the same test on the Google Classroom that you can download. There's something I want to explain first for you. There are a lot of mark descriptions that we are using in mathematics to mark. AS level is not marked as straightforward as you would think. I'm going to share 3 mark descriptions with you. The first one is a B mark. When you see, you don't have to worry about that for now, but I believe that you should know. So you'll see that sometimes I write B1 or B2. Okay, that means you get 2 marks for that B. But what does that B represent? It's marked cross like that. You're getting a mark for, it's an independent mark for correct result. So this is a mark for a correct result. Or statement. You arrive at say that the coefficient is that. Okay? Or statement. You write that is the statement independent of the method. Of the method marks. So that statement is okay. No matter what the method was saying, but that statement there is okay, then you get a B mark. The other one is A. So when you see B, you must know it's independent. But again, I will have to spend a whole week to explain to you the mark descriptions in mathematics. There are a lot of other things we are marking. We're looking at whatever your answer was in that part, and you use it correctly here. Even if it was wrong for that part of that answer, we follow that through, and we are giving you marks. That is why this is not straightforward to mark. But here we are focusing on accuracy and you getting the right stuff, mostly. So, accuracy, you can't make mistakes. Correct answer, that comes from correct steps. Steps are wrong, that mark is wrong. M1, this one you heard me talk a lot of time. These are method marks that are given for valid method. So your method should be valid. Sometimes you arrive at an answer, or your method that you used to arrive at that answer was totally wrong. So I can't give you, if my memo says 2 marks for the method and a mark for the answer, which effectively make this a 3-mark question. But in your whole setup, your method is wrong, then obviously this becomes wrong. Because that is not a correct and accurate answer. Because it's not from correct methods. Do you see that? So the way we mark AS level, that is why I say to you, you must show more and you must explain more. Let the examiner not look for your answers where they are scattered and stuff like that. All right? That's number one. That's a big problem. If one of your answers is somewhere there and we have to locate it, it is not ideal. And we are marking very strict in AS level. It is not as ordinary level. So you need to show more and you need to be able to there's going to be a few questions that I'm going to explain where I put A marks there so you can get an idea how it's marked. But otherwise, yeah, I'm not entirely happy with the timing because you needed more time to do this, and the integrity for it was now lost because you had to go and then come back, which means you had to go and rehearse, revise some things in order for you to get. Like most of you would not have got that question on the equation, right? That one where you had to use logs. Just from the one side. Okay. This question is very straightforward. You are told it's an AP. The first term is 7. I don't know. I always say, write down so that in your head you know what you are busy with. You are dealing with an AP. You write AP somewhere there. A is equal to 7 because that's the first term. T sub n is 84. That's the nth term. Yes? So the way you can write the first statement, you can say, okay, a plus n minus 1 times d, but we already know what our value of a is. Our value of a is what? And we know that this is going to give me. The next statement is the same 7 plus, but now it's 3n. That should equal to 245. So from these, you must create the equations and try to find the value of n. Yes? Can you move like this so we can see?
Yes. This has an equal understanding.
What's the best of?
Okay.
Okay, the same. Once you have created these 4 marks, that already generates a response. You already know, like from here, I somehow have to form 2 equations and so on. What I saw, I'm going to work with this one because I don't want to multiply that d out. So I'm going to work with this one, which means I'm going to say n minus 1 times d is equal to 84 minus 7. Because ideally, I'm supposed to find the value of d. You understand what I'm saying here? Because that is in order for me to find that. 84 minus 7, that gives you what? Gives you 77. So that becomes n minus 1d is equal to 77. So you can make this as d equals to 77 over n minus 1. That is okay. There are many ways that you can do that. The next one, if you were to make d the subject of the formula here, you'll get 3n minus 1d equals to 238. You do understand how I get 238? Then our d here will be 238 divided by 3n minus 1. So I have now 2 d's equal that, d equals that. So you can actually equate these two things. So you can go ahead and say, look, there are many ways that you can do this. It's totally up to you. This is going to bring me directly to find the value of n, ultimately, because they want us to find the value of n. So if you say 238 over 3n minus 1, put it in bracket because it's an expression, is equal to 77 over n minus 1, put it in brackets. Now you cross multiply because you don't want to work with denominators. Follow? And if you cross multiply, this is going to give you 238 n minus 1 in here, and that's 77. 77, what is this? 3n minus 1. For some reason, if 238 and 77, if 77 can go in there, I would be doing that. Okay, but it doesn't. So I will now just be left with multiplying out, somehow producing an equation. 77 times that, 231, they say. Okay. Oh, this thing is still in standard form mode, previous class. 231 n minus 77. Do you realize it's a linear thing? You'll have n one side, numbers one side. So that means 238n minus 231n equals to minus 77 plus 238. Are you still following me? And if you subtract 238 minus 231, what do you get? You get 7. And if you take this other one, 238 minus 77, yes, and 7 goes on 161, and is n not 23. Was it necessary for us to go back and write d? Is it necessary for us to find the value of d? No. It just says find the value of n. That's it. You follow? No need for you to go and find the value of d. But if you want to, you can find the value of d by substituting in any one of those d values. Okay, can we go to the next one? So once you are now here, Once you are here, sorry, you say therefore the value, that's how you answer in the exam, please. The value of n is 23. You can even go ahead and underline it nicely so that your examiner can see. This is how you answer the question. Even if you put equal to there, it's fine. But you must be a bit careful with the equal sign. Because the moment you're saying x equals to, x squared equals to 540, it becomes a quadratic equation. You see what I'm saying? So that is why I was penalizing you there when you were using the word equal, when you were putting equal signs. Find the coefficient of x squared and the coefficient of x cubed in the expansion of 2 minus x raised to the power of 6. I think the majority of you have got this one right, except where you would not answer. Is it necessary to find the r plus 1 term? Working with the coefficient of 2, we can already determine the value of b is minus x to the power of 6. The value of a, when I say the value of b, oh my goodness, what am I doing? When I'm saying the value of b, that correlate, that's 2 and that's 4. I'm talking about in my binomial theorem, the value of b is this value here, the value of a is that value. You also know that r plus 1. What is the r plus 1? What does it mean? It means the position of the term. What is the first position? What will r be for the first position? First position, you will say 0 plus 1. That's the first term. Is it not so? Okay. The second position, r will be 2. You follow? Okay. So it's 2 plus 1. That will be 2. R will be 1. Yeah, even saying yes. So this here is, everybody know, is the second term. So if r plus 1 is equal to 3, for example, right? What is the position of the term? Okay, so if you find r equals to 3 minus 1, r equals to 2, what does it mean? It means most now, you're saying 2 plus 1, that third, what does it mean? Third is what? Third term. Is it clear? That's the third term. So if you see me here, putting a 2 here, right? Effectively, I'm talking about the third term. Am I right? Okay. Now, suppose, because I want to get this story out. Suppose you didn't do that. Suppose you say, okay, 6, choose r, because you don't know. You go minus x should be to the power r, you follow? And this is obviously my 2, which will be r minus 1. And then you know you are 6 minus r. What did I write? Okay, so that's 6 minus r. That's a r, man. All right, I just want to take away, or let me leave it there. So when you are now only dealing with the, because we are going to ignore the constant. Okay, there's nothing that we are looking for. So you are going to say effectively it's x raised to the power negative r. No, not negative. The constant is negative 1 then. Eh? So let me just rewrite it. So this becomes 6 choose r, then 2, 6 minus r, then negative 1 r, then x r. Are we together? Then you are going to say we equate, because you know what the coefficient is, or the term x squared, right? So you're going to equate x to the power r equals to x squared. So it's the same as me putting it directly there, because that is what it's always going to be for this. Because looking at this general formula, the way this is the general formula right here, it's always going to be x to the r. You understand what I'm saying? So yes, you can do what we call the r plus 1 term. You can do this to find the general formula. You ignore the constants and then you say x to the r equals to x squared. X to the r equals to x cubed for the third one. Is it not so? And here you will be saying, okay, r is equal to 2. Here r is equal to 3. But I don't have to do that for these ones though. You see, I directly go there. But please go ahead and do that anyway, so that you can establish that. So I'm just going to take the stuff off, just to have more space. 3 marks, don't waste your time. Up to there, should be fine. So when you work this out, where we are, choose 2, because it's 2. When you work this out, 6 choose 2 times 2 raised to the power of 4. That gives you 240, and for that reason you're going to get 240x squared. It's minus 240, am I right? No, it's positive 240, because this thing squared will be positive. Né? At the same time, 6 choose 3, because of that, right? Will be minus x here, 3 is here, so that's 3, and this would be 6 minus 3, which is also 3. And then you just go back. Normally I had this on my calculator like before I had that, né? So what I'll do is I'll just go back, and then I'll just go put 3. Alright, and then you can multiply that answer by 8, which is 2 raised to the power of that. It's 160. However, because that is cubed, there's going to be a negative 1. So this answer here is what? But you are supposed to answer. Find the coefficients. Now, some of you leave the answer like that. You are not being specific. So I penalized you. So, yeah, simple and stupid mistakes, but this is higher level or AS level. You need to be very, very specific. Alright, so I'm not going to take all of that stuff off because you were just now supposed to write the coefficient of x squared is. Please write is, don't write equal to. Because now you write x squared is equal to. You see my dilemma here? You understand that? You're not saying anything. You're now giving me an equation where that means take the square root, the positive square root, and negative square root of 240. So this is not what I want. You were supposed to say that. And the coefficient of x cubed is minus 160. Oh my goodness. That's all. 2 marks, this one, 1 mark though. The 2 marks was the 160 because there's quite more work, right? And the other one was 1 mark. Yeah. Yeah, but just answer the thing anyway, don't be lazy. Hence, find the coefficient of x cubed in this one. So, you just have to multiply. This is already 3x plus 1. And this is 2 minus x raised to the power of 6. Which you now know it's 3x plus 1. And we already have the coefficients there. What was it? 240x squared, right? Minus 160x cubed. Am I right? So this thing will continue, right? Even here, there was stuff in before that. So you must only now look for coefficient of x cubed. So the way you can get an x cubed is you multiply this with that. And what do you get when you multiply those two? No, that's the final answer. When you multiply that, you get 720 x cubed. And when you multiply this one with this one, that's the only condition where you're going to get the cubes. Am I right? That's the only condition. And then you get the answer, which is nothing but 560x cubed. Therefore, the coefficient of x cubed is, there you go. Because you didn't write that, you end up losing marks there. Question 3, in this expansion, did all of you guys got this question right? No, not everybody got it right. How can everybody get it right if there are people who failed the test? Did everybody who's here get it right? What are you supposed to do in this question? Can you tell me the reason? You have used your different methods, which is nothing wrong with it. But what is the first thing that you need to do when you see such a question? Let's say we forget about the show. Let's say you forget this, right? Let's even suppose that show that the coefficient of x squared is 0. Let's say it wasn't there. They just find the coefficient of x squared. You understand? Right? So the instruction is different. They just say find the coefficient of x squared. So what would you do? You expand. Why must you expand the second bracket? Because you're looking for something that will give you some x squared, such that you multiply the first bracket to give you x squared. So how do you expand a plus x to the fourth power? What is the first term? 5 choose what?
0.
And then our b is x, right? To the 0 power. No need to write this. A to the power 5. What is 5 choose 0 as a value?
1.
So this one effectively is a raised to the power 5. Then the next one, 5 choose 1, which is 5. And that will be a to the power 4, x to the power 1. So effectively this gives you 5a to the fourth power x. I still have to continue a bit, alright? Because you now have to think if you have to multiply this bracket with something here over later on, you should get an x squared. And this is just x to the power 1. So you need to go on. You follow what I'm saying? Alright? So 5 choose 2. Then this is going to be a cubed. I always start with my x first, okay? So I can be okay. 5 choose 2, the answer is what? 10 times, that's all right. So this is going to be plus 10 a to the power 3 x squared. Should we go on? Already have squared. Okay, plus dot dot dot. No need to go on. Okay, now you will say, okay, 1 minus 2x over a, and you multiply it with the expansion that you have so far. That's a to the power 5 plus 5a to the power 4x plus 10a cubed x squared, and so on. We are clear so far, right? Because I saw funny things. Okay, so if you were to multiply the 1, you're looking for an x squared, right? So those 1 times all the way with this business here. We agree? So that's giving me 10a cubed x squared, irrespective of what this is, the square that I'm looking for. Another one, if you multiply these 2x's on top, so it must multiply with this one, right? So this minus 2x thing, multiply with this one. So that means it's going to be a negative value, né? Negative 2x over a multiplied by 10a cubed, no, by, this one should multiply with this one here, né? I'm writing the wrong one, my goodness. It should multiply with what? With 5a to the power 4x over 1, right? Here's the thing though. The a's, they disappear. A here goes in itself, and then that will be 5a cubed. At the end of the day, 2 times 5 gives you what? Yeah. This is 2 times this 5. So this is going to be 10a cubed x squared minus 10. You get it? A cubed x squared. Well, when you do that, you get 0. When you do that, it gives you a value of 0, and that's all that. Because it's a showdown. So far, so good? I will, the 3 marks most. I already added the 3 marks. You come in July, are you still writing? Are you still writing? Okay. You have to sit until we finish this. The first term of a GP, oh. First of all, what type of progression is it? What is the first term? What is the second term? So, term 1, 4x. term 2 x squared. It's a GP.
AB.
Now, why are you saying GP? So this is an AP. How do you find the common difference? But they are telling us the common difference is 12. How do you find it?
By dividing
Term 2 minus term 1 is the common difference. Right? So that means you have to say x squared minus 4x must give you 12. Now you can find the values of x, and then you can find the corresponding values of the third term. This becomes x squared minus 4x minus 12. Yeah, it was simple, but here's the thing. There are a number of people who didn't get it correct. Well, this factorizes to x, what is it, x minus 3? X plus 2, and then in the exam, if you are lazy, you can even write your answer. You say x equals to negative 2, right? Or 6, just like that. You don't have to say x equals 2 again. You follow what I'm saying? Okay? I'll show you exactly how we're going to mark that. And then the third term, these are the corresponding values of the third term. Because you have got two values of x. So the third terms. One will be minus 2 squared plus 12. The other one would be 6. Huh? You do not understand where the 6 is coming from. What is it? How do you find the third term? Wait. Our first term is 4x, the other one is going to be x squared. So what is our third term? In terms of x? Our third term will be what?
4x
plus 2d.
Plus 2d. But we already know what d is.
4x plus 24.
4x plus what?
12 times 24.
But if I subtract, what did I do now here that you say is wrong?
That's something. It's supposed to be a 4 in front of the negative 2 and not the square. I don't know what's going on.
Do you agree with me that this is 16?
Yes.
You also agree with me that this is 48?
Yes.
Now, how did I get to this answer? What does the negative 2 represent? This one here, what does it represent? This negative 2, it represents x. Okay? So let's go. Whoa, okay. Oh, okay. It represents x. Am I right? Am I right? So we are looking for our third term. The third term. So we know what x is. First term, x is negative 8. You agree? Second term, x is 4. Third term, the difference between these must be 12, right? So how do you find the third term?
4 plus 1.
You just add 12. The next one, I just say, because you add 12, I just add 12. So how do I do that? How do I say? I just said this business plus 12. You understand? It's negative 2 squared, which is the same as 4 plus 12. That's all that I have done here. This is like the 4. This one here is like the 4. I'm just adding 12. Why am I adding 12 every time? It's because that is the common difference. Yeah? But for this one here, the first term is 4x, then x squared. So we know that x here is 6. So first term will be 4 times 6. The other one it will be 6 times 6. Right? But again, whatever this answer is, this is 24 and that's 36. If you add 12, you'll get that answer. Right? Adding 12. But I just took this part. That's what I have here. Okay. You get it? But bottom line is you got to the answer. So here's how this one is marked so that you can see. Because to explain that marking thing, it's quite important. And I'll just change the color here. So for seeing the x squared minus 4x, because this here, that takes up a scheme. The next one was for finding the answers. One, accuracy. I'm not giving each answer, one, accuracy. And then the next one was a mark for that term, a mark for that. You get it. You see the marking strategy. Whereas opposed when you are now in ordinary level, you would say, yeah, I want a mark for the -2 and for the 6. No, that's an accurate mark because it can only be -2 and 6. So you can't at this stage struggle with quadratic equations. All right. When it's a, did you also get this question wrong, Brian? What is the first term again? The first term is 4x. What is the second term? Now you're told is a GP. You're also told that the sum, let me see if it's going to good, is 8, right? The sum to infinity. Right, first thing first, I would expect a person to find the common ratio. How do you find the common ratio? You take the second term, you divide it by the first term. So it's x squared over 4x. Many ways you can do that, but the bottom line is the answer is that. That already is an M1. It's a method mark. You see that? Okay? Because some people can leave it as x squared over 4x. It's okay, because if you carry that over, you will still get the same answer. I just simplified it. Is it fine? Okay. The next thing is obviously your sum to infinity, because you know what is a? Our a being our first term. Our a is nothing but 4x. So sum to infinity is very weird looking. So 4x over 1 minus our r. And our r is x over 4. This should equal to a. This is something that you should be able to solve. So maybe I don't like the, I say 4x equals to 8, then 1 minus x upon 4, just to get rid of that. This is just normal algebra. 4 goes in itself, 4 goes there. So I'll be left with x equals to 2, 1 minus x upon 4. If I multiply out, I get 2 minus a half, because 2 times 1 over 4 is a half. Then I have x plus a half of x equals to 2, because I'm looking for the value of x. That gives me 3 halves, because remember, this is like 1x, né? Right? Like 2 over 2. Of x equals to 2 over 1. Cross multiply, 3x is equal to 4, x is equal to 4 over 3. This is an A1. For equating, here, where are we? This is another method. That's 3 marks so far. Now, you're supposed to find the third term. Third term. Some of you use the formula. The first term is x squared. No. The third term. I'm just going to do this. I'm taking the second term and I multiply by the common ratio. By the way, what is the common ratio? Now that we know what is x, so let's go back and solve to find our r. Our r is x being, was it 4 over 3 divided by 4. Once you do this, you'll get a third. Do you understand that? Because we know what is x, so we can find our r. So our r is a third, so I'm going to simply multiply then that common ratio by the second term. You follow? But the second term is nothing but what? The second term is nothing but what? Maybe I should put that squarely outside, no? It's 4 over 3 squared. I don't know. I like to leave the answer as fractions. You can also give it as a decimal, 0.593 if you round it, but otherwise that is acceptable. Ay. You guys also have the nice calculators, eh? Oh, the calculator is the one they didn't want to buy, or they didn't buy. I'll have to write another letter and see if they, after our second meeting. Okay, you're still writing? Here comes the headache. You should have seen what Andre did. My God. First of all, 3x plus 3x raised to the power of 2 equals to 3x raised to the power of 3. Does everybody understand what I did there? When you work with indices, 3 raised to the power of x of 3x is the same as 3 raised to the power of x, because you are multiplying those indices anyway. Is it not so? So everywhere now that I have 3 to the x, I'm going to replace it with u. U plus u squared equals to u cubed. Yes? On this side, I can take out common factor. Are you with me so far? You're not following? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. You'll get the same answer. So you are left with 1 plus u equals to u squared. At the end of the day, you will have a quadratic equation. The discriminant, which is negative 1 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 1. If you have to work it out, that's 1 plus 4. It's 5. So when you solve the quadratic equation, you will get minus b, which is minus 1, plus or minus the square root of 5 upon 2. All right? So my answers for u will be 1, because it's positive. These two negatives here. These two negatives make it positive. You understand that? 1, it will be positive or negative root 5 upon 2. But there is one that you probably won't consider. So let's find our answer. What is our answer? Maybe you must be careful here. I like to leave my answer in search form. I just want to show you that if you had to write them as decimals, so you have 1 plus root 5, and you divide this by 2, so you get 1.62, right? So one answer is u equals to 1.62, or if you go back, it was what? 1 minus root 5, yes? Upon 2, that gives you negative 0.62. Negative 0.62. I'm going to leave it there so that you can see what's going to happen. What did you say? But 3 raised to the power of x is equal to u. I'm going back, right? So, if I say 3 raised to the power of x equals to 1.62, yes, this one will work. And, or 3 raised to the power of x is equal to negative 0.62 will not work. Why? Because if you take logs, you can't take log of a negative number. So, your the positive root. So the only thing that will work here, positive root. This won't work because you say log equals log of that. It's not possible. You follow? That's why we're not even going to consider that. So here you say x equals to, well, you're going to take log both sides, right? Maybe I must just write it out. I really wanted to go directly to the answer, but I forgot, should not do that. So we say here you can actually put this here because your answer will be, but then you must put more values, right? So that your answer is not out with the rounding. So what happened, Ansel? And let's quickly see what does our calculator give us. We have log 1.62 divided by log 3. I can actually press equal to. It gives me enough places to give my answer 0.438. 0. This one, and no other answer. This is AS level. If your answer, you should not argue. If your answer is not that, you don't get a mark for that. 3.9. The reason is because of this. No, I mean I'm just lazy. I have to go back and put more values there. No, it will not be. No, it will not be. I will tell you exactly what I did when I worked it out, right? That's the only reason. That's why I always say give your answer to at least 4 decimal places if you are a bit lazy. I went as far as 1.618. 1.618. But we always say don't go to 3 significant there. Your 3 significant story only comes at the final answer. But what you do in between, you shouldn't have to do that. The reason here was I just wanted to explain the concept of the positive root here. But here already, I would advise you not to round because the rounded answer is going to affect. It's what we call premature rounding. You understand that? So if you are rounding like that there, then you're going to get hammered there. And unfortunately, there should not be any answer but 0.438 because to 3 significant figure, that is what the solution to that question is. Anything out there, you have rounded prematurely, and because of that, it's affecting your integrity of your answers, which means you start losing marks now at the end. You see that? And that's how you lost that 1 mark also there. And that's how we mark it. And that's what you wrote. Now, that's the end of chapter 2. Should I expose your marks on YouTube?
No.
Yes.